So what if I told you we're on the brink of creating a whole new kind of intelligence? I mean, that's the big idea behind artificial general intelligence, right? AGI. For decades, this stuff was pure sci-fi. But today, it's not a movie plot anymore. It's a very real goal being chased down in the boardrooms of the biggest tech companies on the planet.
And that brings us to the real heart of the debate, the question that's got everyone talking. Have we already created the first sparks of it? Are the tools you're probably using every day, things like GPT-4, actually the first glimmers of AGI? It's a huge question, so let's really get into it and unpack what's going on. All right, so to really get a handle on where we're headed, we've got to look back at where it all began. You see, the quest for AGI didn't just pop up with the latest chatbot. No, it started way earlier, and not just with code. It began with this really big, almost philosophical dream. What if we could build a machine that could think and learn and create, just like a person?
And this is where we need to draw a really important line in the sand. See, we're already swimming in what's called narrow AI or ANI. That's the AI that recommends your next binge watch or translates a menu for you. It's a specialist. It's a master of one trade. But AGI? Oh, that is a whole different ballgame. It's the ultimate generalist. It's not just about one task. It's about being able to reason, to plan, and to tackle totally new problems it's never seen before, in pretty much any field you can think of. And believe me, this dream has been around for a while. Way back in 1965, you had AI pioneers confidently saying, oh yeah, we'll have machines that can do anything a human can in 20 years. Well, that was, let's just say, a bit optimistic. For decades after that, AGI was still just this far-off dream. But then, fast forward to 2023. A research paper from Microsoft drops and it sends absolute shockwaves through the tech world. Why? Because it made a bold claim that a system we can use right now is showing the first real sparks of that general intelligence everyone's been chasing.
And how is that even possible? Well, it all comes down to one thing, the generative AI boom. I mean, this is what changed everything. It took AGI from being this, abstract idea stuck in research labs and suddenly made it something real, something tangible that we can all play with. And that just threw gasoline on the fire, accelerating the whole conversation at an unbelievable speed.
And when I say fast, I mean fast. We're not talking about some distant future here. A report from Deloitte says AI is busting out of the data centers. By next year, they predict almost a third of all new smartphones will come with generative AI baked right in. Just let that sink in. This incredible power is literally moving into our pockets.
And it's not just our phones. Businesses are in a flat-out race to bring in what are called AI agents. These are basically software programs designed to get stuff done with very little human oversight. We're talking about a quarter of all companies using them by 2025. But get this, that number is expected to double to 50% just 2 years after that. That's insane growth.
So this all circles back to that bombshell paper from Microsoft. They weren't just saying, hey, look, GPT-4 is a pretty good chatbot. No, their point was much bigger. They argued that because it could handle such a huge range of different tasks, everything from writing code to passing the bar exam, that this was actual evidence of a very early but emerging form of AGI. And that one statement, man, it just focused the entire debate like a laser.
Okay, so as these systems get more and more powerful, and as they weave themselves deeper into the fabric of our lives, a huge challenge starts to rear its head, and it's a big one, because it gets right to the core of how we're supposed to relate to this new technology.
And that challenge is what a lot of people call the black box problem. Here's the deal. These AI models can give us some truly amazing results, right? But how they get there, their internal logic, is often a total mystery. It's a black box. We can't see inside. And it's that uncertainty, that not knowing, that has sparked two really critical fields of research. And it's super important to get the difference between them. On one hand, you have Explainable AI, or XAI. Think of this as the toolkit for prying open that black box. It's all about transparency, about understanding the how and why. Then you have Trustworthy AI, or TAI. This is the big picture. It's a much broader concept that covers everything. Is it fair? Is it ethical? Is it legal and secure? Basically, XAI gives you the insights you need to build TAI.
And this is where it gets really cool, almost like detective work. XAI methods are designed to probe the AI, to relentlessly ask it, why did you do that? What led you to that conclusion? They do this thousands of times, and by analyzing all those little micro decisions, they can start to build a map of the AI's reasoning.
It's like turning on the lights inside that black box, which makes the whole system more predictable, more accountable, and in the end, something we can actually trust.
So all of this, the power, the black box, the need for trust, it all leads to the really big question. As we get closer and closer to something that looks like AGI, the stakes just keep getting higher. And humanity, well, we're standing at a crossroads, facing a massive choice about what kind of future we're actually trying to create here.
And the debate really breaks down into two pretty extreme visions of that future. On the one hand, you have this utopian view where AGI solves everything. We're talking about curing diseases, tackling climate change, maybe even making work optional in a world of abundance. But then there's the other side, the flip side of the coin. A future with massive unemployment, or worse, an existential risk where we lose control of our own creation, our own destiny.
You know, the great physicist Stephen Hawking put it perfectly, way back in 2014. He warned that we are not treating the arrival of a potentially superior intelligence with the seriousness it deserves. And what's wild is that this warning is now being echoed by the very people, the scientists and CEOs who are actually building this stuff.
Okay, so this leads to the million-dollar or maybe trillion-dollar question. When is this actually going to happen? When does AGI arrive? Well, if you ask the experts, they have absolutely no idea. Or rather, they just can't agree. Seriously, the forecasts are all over the place. You've got the super optimists who think it could be here by the end of the decade. Then you have the median forecast, which puts it somewhere around 2045. And then there's a whole camp of skeptics who say, nope, not going to happen. True, human-level AGI is something we might never actually achieve. There's just no consensus.
But what if all of these predictions are based on today's technology? There's a wild card in the deck that could change the entire game and throw all those timelines out the window. And that wild card is quantum computing. So why is this such a potential game changer? Well, our current computers, what we call classical computers, are kind of hitting a wall. But quantum computers, they play by a whole different set of rules. They can process mind-boggling amounts of data all at once. This could just obliterate some of the biggest roadblocks in AI development, supercharging progress in everything from creating new medicines to revolutionizing finance. And the really crazy part? Many experts think we're just 5 to 10 years away from having quantum computers that can start doing this practical, useful work. So look, whether AGI gets here in 5 years or 50, whether it gets a boost from quantum computing or not, the journey itself is forcing us to look in the mirror and ask some really fundamental questions about what kind of future we want. Because maybe the biggest question isn't just if we can build it. The real question is, are we wise enough to figure out what we should build? And honestly, that's a conversation that involves every single one of us.